And so I can't refuse him that, even though I just got him ready to rock and roll. I mean, I've run him through about 6 weeks of pretty heinous combat, vicious dog fights without counting. I've kicked dogs in the snout, snarling, mean, attacking dogs more than a time or two. Held it down on their necks of other ones that were coming in, snapping. You know, there's loose, intact male dogs everywhere in this town. It's just a fact of life. So you're gonna get to see the whole process here as this fella puts a new coat, the first coat, on my new boots, and then I'm gonna wet them down. The one thing Great Value water is good for, right? To throw away. So I've got that. Here's my new boots. Bang. You can see that. Just bought them. Had them on about 5-10 minutes. And then I got a fresh top coat. Where are we at here? Sorry guys, no gimbals out here. No trick stuff. Just me and my phone out in the town, surrounded by jungle. So those babies look brand new. If you look at it, beside my other one, it's a lot narrower. These big ones were half a size or maybe 3/4 of a size too big, which makes them easy to zip in and out of, but was kind of, they were a little soupy. I had to wear a little sloppy, you know, with my foot in it. I really have to wear 2 pairs of socks, which I am wearing an undersock today that's not cotton. It's like a polypropylene undersock. And then I've got a top sock, which is cotton, but even once I wet them down, that cotton sock should not cause me any problems because the real friction on the foot is in that undersock. You can even wear a lady's silk sock for your undersock. You know, Tiny the Green Beret used to carry a pair of extra large queen size pantyhose when he was in the jungle because they prevent leeches from hooking onto you. And he would listen, everybody laughed at him. All the new recruits laughed their butts off when he pulled out that pair of queen size and flapped them in the barracks. They're like, Tony, what are you doing? He didn't say a word. He thought he'd have the last laugh. Well, sure enough, they went out on a training mission, airdropped into a swamp, and were, you know, in waist-deep water all day long. And when the rest of those guys got back to the barracks, they were covered with leeches, covered with them. Not Tiny, because if you got that queen size on, they can't hook onto your skin. Little airborne trick for you. So hopefully this fella, I'm gonna get where I can see him putting his coat on. Hopefully this fella is gonna do me a 3-step process. I'm gonna turn my screen up so I can see it. Hopefully this fella's gonna do me a 3-step process where he'll grease them. You know, he'll put on something comparable to mink oil in the USA. Right now he's putting on something like that. That's, you know, what they call crema. We would call it a wax. They call it grease. Which is it really? Kind of all of those and none of those. If you even heat up kiwi, it smells like kerosene. So it's got a wax with shorter chain hydrocarbons in it, you know, for the oiliness, and that's what keeps your leather from drying out and rotting. And of course, this is the real key to my painless, blister-free break-in, is I'm going to have him put on my first shine. I just bought him. I'm going to have him put on my first shine, which includes the grease, and then after that, I'm immediately going to dump in the water and wear them dry. Wear them out, hike around the town a little bit. It's pretty hot today. Might rain. Doesn't matter. My feet are already wet, right? But then after wearing them for some hours, you can even fall asleep with your boots on and they'll conform to your foot. It's just a matter of comfort if you're able to sleep like that. Practice makes perfect. Nevertheless, this is all it's going to take. Hard to let go of a pair once you got them broken in just right, but you know, that's part of what makes it a meaningful gift, I guess, right? The queen, before she died, never broke in her own shoes. She had a lady in waiting that was her exact size, and the queen's shoes would be worn under controlled uh, circumstances, controlled conditions, to be broken in so that the queen wouldn't get a blister or suffer. She just happened to have a foot twin that would do that for her. Everything for a price, right? Well, we do it ourselves, but I consider it a great honor, the people that have given me shoes and boots. I still have my grandpa's walkout boots that I wouldn't say he wore, but he kept them. I don't think he even broke them in right. He kept them in his flight ruck when he would go do aerial bombardment missions over occupied Europe. And those they wear flight boots with fur linings because it's 30 degrees below zero at altitude in an unpressurized cabin. And then in the case that he had to ditch, in the case that he had to parachute or put the bird down in occupied territory, of course he would have to walk off the continent, walk to safety, walk to the resistance. And so they call them walkout boots. And I've still got Grandpa's walkout boots, and I wear them from time to time for special occasions. I made a point to actually break them in where I could use them, but boy, that leather's old. I think they've got a 1945 date stamp in them. Anyway, it's a precious gift to give somebody a pair of shoes, or especially battle boots that are ready to go, that are ready to go out and jump and die. Tiny, before he died, when he was at the Alki Ranch drying out, found a brand new pair of Corcoran. These were probably vintage boots from the 80s. He found them in a clothes and ministry bin, and they were 8 and 8 narrow. He pulled them out for me, pulled out his field knife, scraped off the factory coating, and put on his own hand coating. He probably put 20 coats of kiwi on those, just sat around day after day after day, shining those. And then he gave them to me, a brand new pair of real Corcoran brand paratrooper jump boots. And I wore them many, many places. In fact, I finally wore them out. I took them to my cobbler because he had always said he could keep them going forever. He shook his head and said, "These sentimental for you or something?" I said, "Yeah, I guess it has to be totally rebuilt. There won't even hardly be an original piece on it." I said, "All right." Well, it's time to bury him along with the bones of Sergeant Dick. I'm going to pass those babies on with all of the adventures and flights and dog fights that they've been in. You can even see the teeth marks in those boots. Of course, Logan bites them too. That's part of how he plays, as he puts a little snap on. Anyway, there's not really going to be anything else to see. All I'm going to do is let this gentleman put on his coat, and once he does that to my boots, I'm going to loosen them up, pour in the water, soak them good, spend a few minutes letting the water soak in, then I'm going to lace them up tight and walk to town. All right, God bless everybody.
Hả? Ra kia à?